So join me today in making one of the easiest quilt blocks, the pinwheel. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're going to make a pinwheel block. And pinwheel blocks are very simple, and it's basically the most simplest way is by making half square triangles. So we're going to do that again. And if you followed me in the turn dash, if you saw that video, I showed you how to make a half square triangle in that video. But today we're going to use a different size. We're going to use 5.5-inch squares. So I've got a dark fabric, a background fabric, and this is an accent fabric. I'm going to show you the half square triangle in two different ways. Okay, so first we'll make our dark maroon or cranberry. Again, this is from the cranberry line of fat quarters from Walmart. If you're interested in this fabric, I'm using the same fabric because I want to put all of these traditional blocks that I'm showing you how to make into one blanket. And I'll show you how to do that once we've got all the different blocks made. Okay, I'm going to set two of these aside for our other block. And start by taking our background block, layering it right sides together with our darker colored block. You want to make sure that's all lined up straight. Just a little off right here. My background fabric got crumpled. Okay, so next thing you're going to do is draw our line down the middle. And I'll just take my ruler along with a marking pencil or plain. This is just a plain mechanical pencil. You're not going to see the line when you're quilting this, so it won't show up in your block. Okay, so you're just going to line up your ruler diagonally from corner to corner, and then take your mechanical pencil and just draw a line. And I'm doing it light. I just need it to be dark enough to where I can see when I'm sewing. Okay, I don't know if you can see that well. Very good on the camera. And I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch seam on each side of the center line. Okay, and we'll do that to both of these, both of our colors, and then come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, so now that we've sewn our seams on either side of the center line, I'm going to cut them in half. You can use your rotary cutter to cut them in half, or you can use a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to use the scissors. I'm cutting on that center line that we drew. Okay, and then that will give us our half square triangle. Okay, and then I'll just finger press it to the darker fabric. And now we're going to want to square these up. And we're going to square them to 5 inches. Now that's why I cut my squares into 5.5, so I'd have that extra 1/2 inch in order to square these to 5 inches. Now if all you have is 5-inch charm squares, that'll work too, but you're just going to square it down to 4.5 inches instead of 5. Okay, so I'm going to cut the rest of these up, and then I'm going to iron them and square them. Okay, so to square these up, you can use a square ruler you know, that has the 45-degree line to square them. I'm just going to use my tall ruler, and I have that 45-degree line on here. And so I just place it like where it would, within that 5-inch square radius. And then take my ruler and put this 45-degree line in between both of these on that seam. And then I'll bring it over and then I'll cut off that little bit that's excess. Okay, and then I just rotate it once, lining it up again on that 5-inch mark. And then using this 45-degree angle mark, and then cut off that excess. And you're going to do the same thing, just going around until you get to all 4 sides. And sometimes it will only just be like a tiny little sliver or these little dog ears, but that's fine. You just want to make sure that you're getting all the little excess off of it. Okay, so you'll do that to all 4 of your 5-inch, all 4 of your half square triangles. Okay, so now that we have them all ironed and squared up, we're going to turn our blocks in the direction that we need them to be in for our pinwheel. That, and then this. This way. Okay, so now what you'll do is you'll sew these 2 together, right sides together with a 1/4 inch seam. You'll do the same thing for the bottom 2, and then you'll take them and turn them over on top of the top row and sew them together. And so for the rows, when you're sewing each of them this way, you want to make sure that this one is opposite of this one, and you want to butt it up right next to it. And you can see, make sure that they don't overlap. You just want to sit right next to each other. And then you'll take your clip or a pin and pin those together or clip them. Okay, and then you'll sew that 1/4 inch seam right down, and you'll do the same thing to this one, making sure that they're opposite of each other on that corner where they meet up. And pin them together. And I just want to make sure that I have this pointed in the right direction. Okay, yes, I do. So you're going to sew it down this way, and then on this side right here. I'll meet you back here to sew them together. Okay, so now you see you have both parts, and we're just going to turn this one over on top of this one. And you want to match up your seams going in opposite directions, snuggling them up right next to each other. And then put a pin or a clip in it, and then sew across a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so with our other pair, we're going to do the same thing and cut them down that middle line. Okay, and then we'll iron these and square these up as well. We'll square these at 5 inches. Okay, on this one, I just wanted to show you how you can do the opposite with your background fabric by placing it as the dominant, um, to have that pinwheel look. And you still get your pinwheel, but it's just opposite. And that you get like a, different look to it. You can even turn them and just do this the way that you did the other one if you prefer. And you get another look. So you can place them either way that you want to get a different look. So I'm going to sew this one up like I did the other one, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so we've finished our blocks. This is the one with the accent fabric, and then the plain block with just the background fabrics. And I want to show you that I've ironed them, and when I ironed it, I ironed this middle row open because you're going to have like a really bulky seam right here where all the seams meet in the middle. And so it's going to be a little bit bulky. So I opened it and ironed it this way in order to flatten it as much as possible. Okay. Now that you know how to make the pinwheel block, you can pair them with any other blocks and make a nice quilt with it. Like I said earlier, I'm going to take all these ones that I'm showing you how to make, all the traditional blocks. I'm going to put them together and make a sampler quilt out of them. And then when we get to that part, I want to show you a few other things that we can do. Like, for example, the Dresden plate block that we made. If you remember, if you haven't seen it, you can go into my channel, or I'll list it at the end of this video so that you can click on it. But this Dresden block is a 12.5 by 12.5. And so these blocks are smaller. They're like maybe 10 inches or 9.5 to 10 inches. But what I'm going to do to make them big enough to match with our other block is frame them. I'm going to put strips of fabric around it to frame it. So I'm going to show you that in another video. And so meanwhile, I'll have some more videos coming out with traditional blocks that we can use to put together in our blanket. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Bye-bye for now.